At the beginning of the story, we see a guy finishing up his shift and about to shut down the machine. But he noticed the cabin door wouldn't close, no matter what he tried. Desperate to save his job after working there for 3,000 months, he broke the rules and stepped right inside. He had no idea what kind of trouble he was walking into. All he could think about was keeping his job. He just lightly nudged the tray and click, the cabin door slammed shut. The next second, the machine detected the door was closed and started up automatically. The workers outside heard the noise and rushed over to open the door and save him. But the supervisor stopped them. The machine was way too expensive, and even if all of them pulled their money together, they still couldn't afford to replace it. So Max had no choice but to endure the whole thing until the machine finally finished its cycle. Once it shut down, a robot dragged him out and took him to safety. He survived, but the radiation had wrecked his body. His organs were shutting down fast, and the doctors told him he only had 5 days left to live. When the big boss found out what happened, instead of offering any compensation, he ordered his goons to throw Max out immediately. "I don't want to ruin this new bed. Get him out of here right now." He told the supervisor to give Max 5 days worth of painkillers, which they literally threw at his face, then ordered him to get lost. Max saw the cold-hearted way his boss treated him, and felt like God had been incredibly unfair. That morning he had gone to work happy, and now on the way home, death was staring him right in the face. If he wanted to stay alive, he had to get to Elysium. Only the advanced medical pods there could save him. By the end of the 21st century, Earth had become a total wasteland because of extreme pollution and overpopulation. The rich people of Earth built a massive space station called Elysium, orbiting 20,000 kilometers away, where they could live in luxury. The views were beautiful, the air was perfectly clean, and no one ever got sick, because every home had a high-tech medical machine. Whether it was back pain, leg pain, or even a terminal disease, just lie in the pod for a few minutes and you'd come out completely healed. Every poor person on Earth dreamed of living on Elysium, but the ticket was so expensive that almost no one could afford it. When someone got really sick, the only risky option was to try smuggling themselves up there. The leader of the smuggling gang was named Mora. He could create fake IDs to make people legal citizens of Elysium and fly them up on his ships. The problem was that his price was still sky high. Max's only hope of surviving was to go through Mora. That same night, he went with a friend to meet him. Even their entire life savings combined weren't enough for one ticket. So Max asked if he could get it on credit, and promised to pay it back after he recovered and started working again. Mora burst out laughing and told them both to get lost, saying he'd never seen anyone so shameless. But when he learned Max only had 5 days to live, his attitude completely changed. He gave Max a ticket for free, arranged food and lodging, but there was one condition. Max had to do a job for him. The job was to kidnap a rich guy from Elysium who was visiting Earth, extract the bank account data from his brain, copy it into Max's own brain, and bring it back. Max was stunned. He wondered if he could really pull off a kidnapping in his dying condition. Mora didn't say anything. He just pulled out a robotic exosuit. When you wore it, you became incredibly strong, almost like a robot yourself. Max's friend thought the whole thing was too dangerous and tried to talk him out of it. But Max didn't want to lose his only chance at survival. After thinking for a moment, he agreed. He had one condition of his own. The target would be his own boss. Mora immediately accepted. He didn't care who the rich guy was, as long as he had money. They took Max to an operating room, bolted the suit directly to his bones, smoothed out the edges, and programmed it. Looking at the robotic suit fused to his body, Max felt like he now had unstoppable power. But he was still dying from radiation poisoning, so he had to risk everything. They took off right away in their vehicle. Meanwhile, the boss was already sitting in his space capsule, getting ready to return to Elysium. Just as his ship was about to take off, Max stepped forward with his weapon and fired. The shot hit the ship's engine, causing it to malfunction. After flying erratically for a bit, it crashed back to the ground. Max and his team rushed in, guns ready. The boss saw them and ordered his security robot to kill everyone. The robot came out, threw a grenade that blew several guys into the air, then opened fire. Max aimed and unloaded special rounds into the robot, causing a massive explosion that tore it apart. After destroying the first robot, they broke into the cabin. The boss was shocked to see his own worker, Max, standing there. He couldn't believe the guy who was supposed to be dying still had this much fight left in him. Then another robot appeared. One of Max's guys suddenly went crazy and started shooting wildly, accidentally killing the boss. Max charged the robot, smashed it with his metal head, and after a brutal fight, ripped its head off. They quickly started extracting the data from the boss's brain, but then they spotted a military ship approaching. They barely finished the transfer, which turned out to be mostly useless court data, before they had to jump into their vehicle and flee. Kruger fired 2 missiles at them. Thankfully, Max was wearing the suit, or he would have been blown to pieces. A fierce hand-to-hand fight broke out. Kruger stabbed Max in the stomach. Max fought back like a madman, but eventually had to leave his friend's body behind and escape. A kind old woman helped Max hide under a big truck, and he managed to slip past the search. Kruger was furious. One of his men then hacked the transmission between the boss and Max, and discovered something huge. Max's brain now contained the open source code for Elysium itself. Whoever controlled it could take over the entire station. Kruger immediately launched drones to hunt Max down everywhere. Meanwhile, Max dragged his injured body to the hospital to find his nurse friend for help. He passed out from blood loss before he could reach her, but luckily Ellie saw him while coming off duty. She took him home and patched him up. The next day, when Max woke up, he told Ellie the whole truth. Then her little daughter walked in. Max didn't want to scare the child, so he tried to leave, but Ellie stopped him. She revealed that her daughter was in the final stages of blood cancer. She had noticed the marks on Max's body and begged him to take her daughter to Elysium for treatment. But Max was being hunted and could barely step outside. Before he could even get out the door, a drone spotted him. He fought back, smashing a car window to spot the drone's blind spot and taking one down. This pissed Kruger off even more. Kruger later broke into Ellie's house, slapped her around when she said she didn't know where Max was, and eventually kidnapped both mother and daughter. Max, furious, went to the black market and found Mora. He demanded to be sent up immediately, but Mora told him all flights had been grounded. After some back and forth, Mora examined the data in Max's head and was shocked. It wasn't just bank info, it was the master code to take full control of Elysium. This could make everyone a citizen and save the entire planet. Max didn't care about any of that. He just wanted to get healed. When Mora couldn't arrange immediate transport, Max left to find another way. Mora secretly planted a tracker on him. Max then confronted Kruger directly, threatening to destroy the data unless Kruger took him to Elysium for treatment. Kruger agreed, but when Max boarded the ship, he saw Ellie and her daughter as hostages. A struggle broke out. The ship spun out of control and it crashed. They survived, but more fighting followed. Max rescued Ellie and her daughter, got them to a medical pod, and then headed to the main control room with Mora's crew. A final brutal showdown happened with Kruger. After an intense fight, Mora prepared to upload the new program. He warned Max that completing the transfer would kill him. Max already knew. He said a final goodbye to Ellie over the comms, telling her he couldn't keep his childhood promise or come back to see her. Then he hit the confirm button. The entire Elysium system restarted. When it came back online, everything had changed. Every person on Earth became a full